Thanks for joining us today for Dublin Today. I'm Stacy Brooks. We're over at the First Baptist Family Life Center. We are getting ready to listen to some speakers. Of course, this event is the Child Abuse Prevention Banquet, and it is being sponsored by Dublin Exchange Club. It is to benefit Stepping Stone here in Lawrence County. Now, Stepping Stone, as many of you know, is the Child Advocacy Center. They do a great job here in Dublin, Lawrence County, especially working with our foster children here in Dublin, Lawrence County. They provide a tremendous amount of services to our children here in Dublin and Lawrence County. So you're going to hear a little bit about them. You're going to hear some great stories from people who have had their lives changed by groups such as Stepping Stone and other advocacy centers. So it's definitely going to be a great day in Dublin today. It's going to be one you want to stay tuned and not miss.
Since 1979, the National Exchange Club adopted the prevention of child abuse as its national project. It's natural and an honor for us to support a program like Stepping Stone. If you love pancakes, please come support us during the St. Patrick's Festival at our annual pancake supper. We flip over 30,000 pancakes to raise money for causes like this. We love partnering with organizations that make a difference in our community. We appreciate you coming tonight and hope you will join with us and share awareness about prevention of this social crisis. Thank you.
My name is Kelly Kennedy. I'm the chairman of the Child Abuse Prevention Committee with Exchange Club and also the chairman of Stepping Stone. 13 years ago, we began a project to try to encourage our youth to become informed or interested in the problems that affect children through child abuse, maltreatment. So we started having an essay contest to try to encourage them to do some research on the topic that is decided on by our committee. There may be a slide that comes around that shows all the titles that we've used in the past, but we try to pick a current topic that youth are dealing with these days, and develop a title, and then the students have to build at least a 500-word essay around the title that we give them. So it's very interesting to see. They have to use a quality format. They have to cite all their references. And then they have to present their essay to our committee. What they do is they mail their essays to me, and then they're kept in a safe place until all the essays are gathered by the deadline. And then an independent person removes all identifying information from the essay, their cover sheet, which is their application sheet, and all the essays are coded with a letter. So the committee members that are reading the essays have no idea what school the essay comes from or what student wrote the essay until the end. This year's winner is Yagni Patel from West Lawrence High School, and Yagni will be the recipient of the $1,000 scholarship for the Child Abuse Prevention Essay Contest. And she'll come now to read her essay to you.
The impact and value of children's advocacy centers. The entire nation has probably heard of the Turpin parents recently. They are the couple who abused and neglected 12 out of 13 of their own children between 2 and 24 years old. The couple have been accused of beating and choking some of their children and depriving the children of water, feeding them small portions of food on a strict schedule. These children were found to be extremely malnourished and thin. This is an issue to think about, because who would think that a parent would abuse their own child like that? Think about how these traumatizing events must have affected the 12 children. Their childhood was taken away from them, and they will be burdened with these memories for the rest of their lives. At times like this, who is going to help these children while their parents are being punished in jail? Who do these children turn to? That is where children's advocacy centers come into place. Children's advocacy centers offer a safe environment for abused children. A CAC offers children and their families compassion and support to help them deal with traumatic events that may have occurred to a certain child. A CAC is a safe haven for children. Child advocacy centers provide support and love to countless numbers of children across the nation and help reduce a child's trauma experience. This treatment offered by a CAC is highly important because a child who has been abused and mistreated are sometimes not able to move on from that experience. It would be hard for any child to move on from disturbing experiences because they not only leave scars physically, but emotionally too. Child abuse has long-term effects that last long into adulthood. Children who do not receive support or comfort after such events generally show negative behavior throughout their lives. After such bad experiences, children fail to distinguish between what is right and what is wrong. This is understandable because a child who has seen and felt nothing but evil in their young lives will have a hard time finding the good in their lives. Sometimes these same abused children become abusive parents themselves. Facts show that 1 of every 3 abused children will grow up to become an abusive parent. That is why it is so important to realize how important child advocacy centers really are. The values and nourishment that these centers offer are life-changing for abused children. These centers help children grow into more educated and emotionally stable individuals. They help children feel loved, which helps children see the good in life. They help children make better decisions in life. Another important value of a child advocacy center is that they offer services that help children deal with legal processes in a much positive and safer way. A child advocacy center is a child-based program that encourages the multidisciplinary team approach to the investigation and treatment of child abuse, strengthening and coordinating our community's response to child abuse. Think about all the interviews and questions children may have to face. Often, a child may end up having to repeat their most traumatizing memories over and over again to officers, doctors, lawyers, judges, investigators, and more. These people will not realize how difficult it may be for a child who has gone through their worst phase in life to continuously tell their scariest story. However, at a CAC, the child tells their story once to a trained interviewer who knows the right questions to ask in a way that does not re-traumatize the child. Then a team that includes medical professionals, law enforcement, mental health, prosecution, child protective services, victim advocacy, and other professionals make decisions together about how to help the child based on the interview. CACs offer many services such as therapy, medical attention, courtroom preparation, and more. These services are so important in a child's case because not only do they assist with the child's legal case, but they also help increase the chances of winning against the offender. CAC services include benefits such as increased accountability of offender, false allegations being dealt with quickly and efficiently, and a professionally trained staff. There are so many more benefits offered by CACs also, such as funding, training, screening, investigating reports, and safety planning. The benefit of receiving funds in an abused child's case is highly important because if the abuser is the child's own parents, then it is impractical for a child to come up with the money and fight for themselves. Without CACs, many children in our nation would continue to be neglected. Many children would be helpless and alone. Children need a helping hand, and that is exactly what child advocacy centers offer. More than 6.6 million children are victims to child abuse in our nation. That is 6.6 million children and counting who need love and support. Child advocacy centers are extremely valuable for our children in our nation. Children are our nation's future, and these children need a guiding hand. The numerous benefits that these centers offer, ranging from guidance to legal support to medical assistance, show how valuable and important CACs are. However, the greatest gift a child advocacy center has to offer to children is their ability to guide traumatized innocent children out of the darkness and into the light in life.
We're here today at Bank of Dudley to discuss business loans. So many businesses and industries trust the Bank of Dudley for a variety of financing alternatives to suit your specific needs, from short-term loans to help with cash flow, loans to purchase equipment or facilities. At Bank of Dudley, we have commercial mortgage loans, capital improvement loans for construction or renovation. We can help with your business vehicle loans or for a small business line of credit. In other words, Bank of Dudley has your business covered. No matter what it is, you can trust the lenders at the Bank of Dudley with 5 convenient locations: East Dublin, downtown Dublin, Veterans Boulevard, Dudley, and Jeffersonville. The Bank of Dudley, member FDIC, and an equal housing lender.
I attended Oconee Fall Line Technical College, and like many others, I was considered a non-traditional student.
My classes at OFTC have taught me the different aspects of a criminal mind and the way the criminal act.
The term non-traditional career refers to jobs that have traditionally been held by one gender. That would be like males in cosmetology or females in welding.
Anyone can do it, regardless of the gender, and as long as you put your mind to it, you can succeed and achieve all your goals.
Good evening. I'm Jeff Bruton of the Dublin Exchange Club. The Exchange Club of Dublin sponsors the ACE Award. ACE, which stands for Accepting the Challenge of Excellence, recognizes students who have made dramatic changes in their attitude and performance sometime in their high school years and have overcome significant circumstances to beat the odds and are now eligible for graduation. This type of student may have never received any type of positive recognition for their success in overcoming the odds of their circumstances. Recognition of a well-deserving youth could have an impact on his or her future. Each local high school can submit one nominee as their ACE winning representative. Each nominee certainly is deserving of this recognition. The ACE Award committee members, by the way, are John Mark Butler, Kelly Canada, Lucas Cowart, and myself. The committee conducted an interview process to make a final selection from the nominees. The top nominee will represent the Dublin Exchange Club at the Georgia district level. The 2018 ACE Award winners, the runners-up are Krista Lee from West Lawrence High School. Krista, if you would stand. Xavier Phillips from Moore Street School. These two representatives will receive a $500 scholarship award. Representing the Dublin Exchange Club at the Georgia district level is William Hornig of East Lawrence High School. Mr. Hornig will receive a $1,000 scholarship award and then will be sent to our state level to compete at that event. We will not be able to read each of the narratives submitted by the nominees and their school representatives. However, with the permission from our first place nominee, William Hornig will allow us to share his life story, one that will explain the true meaning of accepting the challenge of excellence. Now, I'll go ahead and tell you, for some reason or another, they keep asking me to do this. This is about my third or fourth year in a row. And yes, one year I kind of got upset and I kind of snotted a little bit. So I've got me a little rag. And oh, by the way, I'm known at the Exchange Club as a joke teller, and I kind of go off the rails. So I'm off the rails just a little bit. But if you don't hear these stories and know that every one of these kids have gone through an inordinate amount, more than you could possibly imagine, more than your kids, and I have one this age right now, more than they could ever imagine in their life, and they've overcome. So please bear with me and listen. I'm going to try to read so I don't go off the rails here. William Hornig is a young man who understands the complexities of life better than most people his age. He understands the strife of poverty, the pain of grief, and the loneliness and uncertainty of homelessness. William, the fourth of 5 children, came to the East Lawrence community after a family moved from Macon in his early elementary years. His father, a disabled veteran, had survived 3 heart surgeries and was unable to work. His mother found occasional employment in the healthcare services. William's high school guidance counselor, Leslie Brantley, states that William's life is not one of stability and wealth, but rather one filled with several life transitions, frequent moves, and extreme poverty. The family often received assistance from church members, the school, and people in the community. The Department of Family and Children's Services and the East Lawrence social worker, Summer Falk, were common support services to monitor and assist the family with meeting just their basic needs. Ronald and Bonnie Wilkinson lived next door to the Hornigs and knew the situation well. Ronald says that he got to know the children by driving the church van that would take the children to Calvary Baptist Church in Wrightsville. Ronald understood clearly that the Hornig family had extremely limited resources. William was 9 at the time and would often hang out with Ronald after he got off the school bus. He describes William as hardworking, enthusiastic to learn new things, and often took on adult responsibilities of taking care of his family, even though he was the fourth of 5 children. Ronald says he didn't understand it at the time, but God put the two of them together for a reason. Soon after moving next door to the Wilkinsons, William experienced a day that he says he would never forget, and it would change his life forever. He found his father lying lifeless on the living room floor, having passed away from an aneurysm. With the oldest sibling being only in the 8th grade, the responsibility for providing for the family fell solely on their mother. 2 months later, and barely enough time to grieve the death of their father, William states, "I got off the school bus, and if I found my mother sitting on the front porch, totally non-responsive. She had had a massive stroke and was completely nonverbal and paralyzed on her right side. While his mother was being treated in an Atlanta hospital and with no other family to care for the children, defects became involved. Fortunately, the Wilkinsons, next-door neighbors, agreed to take all 5 of the children into their home until their mother could recover enough to return home. Due to the mother's health and declining stability in the home for the next 4 years, William and his 2 minor sisters were being assessed for foster placement by DFACS. The close relationship that had been built between William and the Wilkinsons led Ronald and Bonnie to the decision to adopt William, while the 2 sisters were taken into foster care by another family. Bonnie says, William was eager to have a structured family, eager to learn about life, to begin to earn things that his family could not give him. I have no regrets, not one. Ronald says, I watched William mature as he worked alongside of me in my business. I wanted to help him to have a chance. Bonnie and I started out again as mentors and ended up becoming parents again. Yep, God put us together for a reason. Before Christmas of 2016, William's mother was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. On January 30th, 2017, 6 weeks later, his mother passed away 2 days after his 17th birthday. Mr. and Ms. Wilkinson, would you guys please stand for us? The Wilkinsons made a decision to step into the life of William when others couldn't, and when they didn't have to. Having grown children of their own, they could have viewed their role of parenting a teenager as long over. But instead, they chose to make a difference. Phil Downer says in his book, Eternal Impact, Investing in the Lives of Men, God doesn't care about your worldly attainments. He's much more interested in the concept of significance. If success is just a feeling you get when you reach your goals, then significance is making a difference in the lives of people over time. Successful men and women have come and gone, but it's the significant people who've changed the course of history. The Exchange Club of Dublin would like to commend you on your decision to be significant by standing in the gap to make a difference in the life of William. Leslie Brantley says that William was one of those students whose life circumstances could very well have led him down a path to becoming a failure and a high school dropout. After years of poor attendance and academic performance in school, William ended his freshman year of high school with 4 failed courses, and his educational future looked dim. 4 failed courses, John Mark. We can relate, right? After a motivational conference with his counselor, he began to understand that if he worked hard, he could get on a pathway to recover his failed courses and graduate on time. After becoming a part of the Wilkinson family, William says that Ronald and Bonnie, they had high standards and they had high expectations of him. He was motivated to repeat his freshman year and began to turn things around through the relationship he developed with Dean Cutler, his construction class teacher. Through Mr. Cutler and the Skills USA program, William discovered a passion for construction, which led him to state competitions for several years in electrical wiring, winning multiple awards. William also began to contribute to Habitat for Humanity through a school project of cutting and assembling boards for houses. I added this, the child that experienced homelessness is now working on houses for the otherwise homeless of our community. Mr. Cutler, would you stand for us for just a second? The Dublin Exchange Club would like to extend our gratitude to you and the work that you do to minister to the youth of our community. It is easy to understand why William considers you to be one of the people that have had the greatest impact on his high school career. Thank you for accepting the challenge of excellence. Thank you again, Mr. Cutler. In closing, William is quick to express his gratitude to God. He says, I don't always understand why things happened, but they have happened for a reason. God brought us through a lot. He's been there all the time. Life hasn't been fair, but has made me grow up to be the man I am today. During my high school years, I've worked 2 to 4 part-time jobs simultaneously to pay my own personal expenses. I started high school with failing grades and am now on schedule to graduate. I also realized that I couldn't let the fact of my family being split up and my siblings living in foster care distract me from what I was responsible for in getting my life on a positive track. I don't want to live off the government. I want to be able to make my own way. Everybody's got to start somewhere. You don't start off at the top of the ladder. You have to work your way up. I'm most proud of being able to graduate on time, which I know would make my parents very, very proud of me. I also now work for Middle Georgia Mechanical as an HVAC technician, heating and air. And I will one day take over my adopted dad's business in moving manufactured homes. I've learned many life's lessons while being involved in these growing industries, lessons about more than just construction, like presenting myself professionally, being punctual, and persevering in difficult situations. Having learned all of this, I still wish to learn more and continue my education at the Oconee Fall Line Technical College in Dublin, Georgia. I want to become a certified construction worker so that I may build houses to allow people to have comfortable environments and easier lives. In doing this, I plan to make my community greater and to make a difference in others through sharing my story and showing that despite hardships, you can succeed. Therefore, I know my future goals happen because of my strong work ethic and desire to succeed in what I put my heart and mind to. Succeed you will, William. Indeed you will. Now, if I could get William, Xavier, and Krista to come to the front, and if you would stand in front of me and face the audience. Your life stories exemplify the essence of the Bible scripture in Romans 5, 3 through 5, a story of undeserved sufferings, of unrelenting perseverance, of exemplary character and resilient hope. And this hope, based on not on wishful thinking, but in a promise poured into your hearts by God, will never disappoint you.
I'm Marcus Clements with Clements & King Insurance. We now sell final expense life insurance for seniors. Life insurance available through age 85. Guaranteed acceptance. Call Clements & King Insurance for all your health and life insurance needs.
You put your mower through a lot. All that back and forth on all those acres can add up to thousands of miles. That's like mowing cross country. It's a lot to ask of a mower. Gravely commercial mowers are built for all-day performance, helping you get the job done season after season, and ergonomically designed to keep you comfortable mile after mile. Gravely, built to mow the distance. Available exclusively at independent Gravely dealers.
Visit the new location of Myers Equipment and Supply, 301 North Jefferson Street in Dublin.
Matthew 25:40 states, "Truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me." This Bible verse reminds me of our speaker tonight, Mark Edens. Mark retired as a detective sergeant from the Michigan State Police. After retiring, Mark moved to Georgia and worked for 14 years in transportation and construction safety. Since 2013, he has served in the mission field with One Collective, who is supported by the First United Methodist Church of Dublin. In Rome, Mark is involved in refugee ministry and with Slavery No More, an anti-trafficking organization. In Georgia, Mark serves with Out of Darkness, doing outreach, rescues, and prayer teams. Mark has 4 beautiful children that all graduated from West Lawrence, and he has 3 grandchildren and will happily take more. So I just want to welcome Mark tonight. Many of you know him as he lived in this community with his wife Val for many years, and any of you that have met him know just what a tremendous heart he and his wife had for this community and for other people. And it is just my honor to bring him here tonight to talk with you all a little bit about his ministry.
Good evening. William, I want you to know God is the great coordinator. He has coordinated my life down to the nth degree. I'm here tonight thanks to Brooke, who invited me, and thanks to many of you who support my ministry. I was a member of First United Methodist Church, which is my sending church, still my sending church, and I hope will always be my sending church. There's a sign as you leave First United Methodist that says, "You are now entering God's mission field." And apparently I took that literally when I went to First United Methodist. I came as, I thought I was a good Christian, and raised in a Christian family, and I raised my children in a Christian family. But I didn't really know how deep you could get with Jesus and what he could do to your life if you just totally gave your life to him. And through an event at the church here in Dublin a few years back, I don't know when it was, maybe around 2008 or 9, I really discovered the power of prayer. And I started praying. And that prayer led me to giving my life to Jesus, and that led to becoming a full-time missionary. And of course, I had plans. I thought, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I like. This is where, I should be, and this is what I should be doing. So Val and I set off for Europe, and we served in Rome. And she always said she'll live abroad with me till we have grandchildren. Well, in 2014, the grandchildren started coming, so I started serving in Europe alone. And I still go, and she still supports me, and Val is still my best supporter, but I didn't give up. I couldn't give up. I had already gotten involved with the ministries in Rome. I went there to do street discipleship, so I thought. And I got there, and it just didn't work. And but I heard about a refugee center, started volunteering there. I got it to Rome on a Wednesday, and by Friday I was signed up to work as a volunteer there. And then shortly thereafter, somebody said, you should, with your heart, you should work with this group, and the English version is Slavery No More, the name. And I started working with them, and they were an anti-trafficking group. And I learned that where God wanted me, because no matter what I tried to do, he just kept turning me back. And as Brooke said, I have a law enforcement background, so I had plenty of experience with the activities on the streets I worked in Detroit for most of my career, and I wasn't new to what went on in the streets at night. But I started working with trafficking in Europe. Well, then when Val decided that we weren't going to be living in Rome full-time, I was welcome to spend as much time there as I wanted, but she was going to be with her grandchildren. And those of you that know and love Val, I don't have to say anymore. You know how she feels. But when I was going to be here for part of the year and there for part, I had to find some place that I could spend my time when I was here that was meaningful to me. And I hooked up with an organization called Out of Darkness in Atlanta. They had just started in Atlanta. They're part of the Atlanta Dream Center. That's the church that they're part of. And they were doing outreach, and they were set up a safe home, and they were starting to do rescues. Rescuing at a hotline, and they still do. So I got involved with them early on and doing outreach, and eventually I worked into doing the rescues. And that's what I do. I do street outreach. I'm in Warner Robins several weekends a month in Warner Robins in Macon. And I do outreach in Atlanta, and I do rescues. And I do rescues all over the Southeast. I've done rescues in Savannah, Knoxville, Chattanooga, Birmingham, Columbus, Macon, Warner Robins, hundreds in Atlanta. But that's what I do. And I have to tell you, it's talking with Brooke and hearing the young lady that read her essay. It was wonderful. She said so many things that were exactly right. It is a problem, and I don't know if all of us are aware of it or what we think about it or how we feel about it, but trafficking is a serious, serious problem in the world, but it's a really serious problem here in Georgia. Atlanta is the #1 city in North America, not just the United States, but in North America for trafficking. How we got that honor, I'm not sure, or I hesitate to call it an honor, but it is where we rank statistically. But it's such a serious problem that I don't know how to address it to you. One of the things I want to say might help you understand it. I work with refugees in Europe, and I've worked in Rome for many years now, well, since 2013. Last year I started at a place in Spain. The agency I'm with used to be I-Teams, International Teams, and we changed our name this year to One Collective. So same agency, everything's the same. You can call us by any name, we don't care. But they had a place in Spain that needed help, and it was called the Pilgrim House. And I went there, and it was wonderful. It was really a wonderful experience. And in Spain, people that are homeless and searching and not in their original countries are called pilgrims. and they welcome them. There's places set up all over. The city I was in was Santiago de Compostela, and it's like they're part of the community. The pilgrims are welcomed and cared for and accepted, and they sleep in tents and parks, and everybody's okay with it. That same person in Italy is called a refugee, and they can't work. They're not allowed to take jobs. They're shunned. They were not fed. They're not helped in any way by the government. And I'm thinking, it's the same person with just a different term, but it changes everything we do for them. And that's the same thing here in the United States. I think we have this. If I told you that 5 nights a week I go in my car and I pick up prostitutes and I take them to a safe home, you'd think, well, I don't know if that's worthwhile. But when I tell people that I work in trafficking and I rescue trafficked women and men, I've rescued men, everybody thinks it's wonderful. So I think, what is the difference? It's the same woman in the back of my car. It's just the name is different. And we are slowly in America starting to look at this and say, it's a problem. And on behalf of Stepping Stone, that's where the problem started. I didn't bring a lot of statistics tonight because they're boring and they're not always accurate. I saw one that said that the average lifespan of a woman that's trafficked is 7 years. Nobody can figure out where that came from because it's not true, it's not accurate, but it's used all over the country. Even the FBI has it in some of their literature. It's not true. It's not exactly true. Granted, their lifespan is not that of somebody else, but it's not 7 years. So statistics are tough to back up. But it's what I have seen, and I'm basing this strictly on what Mark Edens has seen in the back of his van and talked to. There's not if you went out and did a survey, I don't care if you picked 100, 1,000, 1,000,000, or 10 million women to interview at age 8, and you asked them at age 8 what they wanted to be when they grew up, none of them are going to tell you what a trafficked woman goes through. None of them are going to say, I want to be raped 7, 8, 10 times a night for 364 days of the year until I die. Not one of them is going to tell you that. So when we have this concept that this is a lifestyle that somebody chose, we're very, very, very mistaken. It started with an abusive situation. It started somewhere in that young person's early childhood. They were broken somewhere along the line, and they remain broken. And it wasn't by choice. Oh, they smile and they act like this is really what they want to do, and they get all prettied up. But that's basically it's so they can make more money to keep their pimp that they're working for happy, so they don't get beat, so they have some extra privilege.
If you're in the market for affordable transportation, come on into Dublin Auto Sales. Getting to work, school, or around town every day requires dependable transportation. And that's what you'll find at Dublin Auto Sales, offering in-house financing too, so credit is never an issue. See Wayne Kemp or any of his friendly staff, Bill Topping, Alan Fields, TJ DeRochi, or Freddie Cook. Look for Dublin Auto Sales at 1701 Telfair Street and 406 North Jefferson, and also at 511 North Jefferson, where you'll find a great deal. Dublin Auto Sales, affordable transportation you can count on. Mid-State Pools and Spas knows pools, in-ground pools to above-ground pools. Mid-State Pools and Spas has over 35 years in the industry, building more than 3,000 pools. Now, we build all our own pools, never subcontracting the work out. So if you're ready to build a pool, renovate a pool, or you need weekly maintenance or liner replacement with a full 20-year warranty, call the professionals at Mid-State Pools and Spas. Visit our showroom today at 2273 Veterans Boulevard in Dublin and see the new line of Marquee Spas. For the ultimate in hot tub experiences, choose Marquee Spas. Also see our new selection of casual patio furniture, available now at our showroom, Mid-State Pools and Spas, where we know pools.
Some of you may have followed it or read about it. I think it's almost getting close to 2 years now. But there was a woman that I was involved in a rescue. She had gotten out of this house in Sandy Springs, and we found out through talking to her that there were 7 other women being held in the house at gunpoint. And that before the night was over, we rescued all 7, or all 8 women, the other 7 as well. And then the young man was, he wasn't young, but he was arrested and prosecuted for that. But that's one of the only cases that I have worked on that I can actually share with people because of privacy. You know, I don't post on Facebook that, oh, I went out and did a rescue of so-and-so tonight, or I did, you know, it seems like all the things I work in, both the refugees, because most of them are Muslim, and the trafficked people, that I can't really share with you what I do and when I do it and who I'm doing it for. But I can tell you it's real, and we need your help. Stepping Stone needs your help, they need your support, and as a community, we need to look at this and we need to say, what can we do better? What can we do to help someone that's broken at this stage before they get to the stage that I have to go out and rescue them? You know, I've had women that I've rescued multiple times. You know, it's not uncommon. I have to laugh because, it's not funny, but it seems funny to me. I laugh because I have to keep my humor about me. But I have women now that I go to rescue that they'll say, oh, I know Mark's van. You know, they'll get in the van and say, hi, Mark. They know me. I've rescued him so many times. And the people at the hotline will say, Mark, are you sure you don't mind, you know, rescuing this woman again? And I always say, I'll rescue him every 12 minutes. I don't care. It's not, you know, that's between them and God. I'm just God's Uber driver that he sends out to pick people up. I really don't judge people. I don't ask them what they're doing or why they're doing it or anything. I'm just there to do what God sent me out to do. And that's where I end it. So I've had women that I've rescued 3 times, and then I read about them in the paper where they were murdered, you know, found dead. And so it's not good. This situation is not good. I can't stand up here and tell you that, oh, it's such a wonderful thing what I do, and I meet these women and they find Jesus, and no, these are broken people that have very little in life other than what we can reach out and give to them. So I would say, please support Stepping Stone in any way you can. And I'm thankful, because there are a lot of people in this room that support me. I'll start crying. I'm thankful that I can do what I do because the people in this room and the people, and it's something, I can't say anything bad about First Baptist, I never would, but many of my supporters are members here too. But that church down the street, it still supports me. And without that, I don't think I could do what I do because I wear out cars. I go through, I put on 40,000 miles in a year, and my cars always need repairs. They're always wore out. They're always something going wrong. Last week I hit something on the expressway and blew out 2 tires, and there was only consolation I had is there was 3 other people at the Goodyear dealer that hit the same thing in the road. So good day for the Goodyear man, bad day for me. But it's, you know, it's none of this happens without the support of people in the community. One of the things Brooke brought up today when I was visiting with her, and I'll share it with you and I'll wrap up with that. And I'd love to answer questions. I really would, I'll share with anybody tonight anything you want to know about. I welcome questions either as I'm up here or later on. But Brooke was saying how she just wants the community to get involved in making a difference and making a change. And I said, you know, I saw that happen once in my life, really, a real glaring example. When I went into law enforcement in 1972, when we stopped a drunk driver, unless they'd run somebody over and really committed some heinous act with their car, we gave them a ride home. That was standard. You took them, you know, one trooper drove the car and the other one drove the person, and we took them home. You know, we brought them home, dropped them off, said, no, don't do that again, you know. And sometimes we'd take their keys and make them come to the post the next day and pick them up so we knew they wouldn't drive anymore that night. But that was the attitude. Drunk driving was, you know, the old joke, he had to drive, he was too drunk to walk. So then Mothers Against Drunk Drivers came along in the 70s and 80s. And when I retired, I was a post commander, and I swear that the guys that worked for me, my last day was a Thursday, and we had a party Thursday night for me. Had I gotten drunk at my retirement party and driven home, they would have arrested me. That's how much it had changed. You know, the attitude about drunk driving had changed in my 25-year career. It went from nobody got arrested to we were arresting each other. And that was a good thing. That was a wonderful thing. But that was a grassroots change, and society said, this is no longer acceptable. Not a law. You could pass all. The laws didn't hardly change. You know, they went from 0.10 to 0.08. Didn't really, not a significant change. One beer. But the attitude changed. People didn't. When you were at a party, people told you, no, we're taking your keys. We're not letting you leave here. That is what changed. And that hasn't changed yet. We're working on it, but we got a long ways to go when it comes to trafficking. And when I say trafficking, I mean just it's what it sounds like. It's not something that happens somewhere else. It's the real abuse and use of human beings. It's human beings being used for someone else's pleasure for money. And you can't, it's nothing else. I think calling it prostitution glamorizes it way too much. It's trafficking. It's something done to somebody against their will for someone else's pleasure. And please be with me in prayer and be with Stepping Stone in doing what they can to resolve that, because it started there. It started with an abused, broken human being. And it ended where it ends. And we shouldn't accept that. We really shouldn't. So, does anybody have a question that I could address? Anybody? Good. But I will be happy to answer anybody's questions after we're done tonight. And I thank you, and I implore you to please support Stepping Stone with all your heart, and as a community, get behind it and trust and understand that these people that they're helping truly, truly need your help. Thank you.
What if there was a paint that had the power to awaken something old, or painfully dated, or something you simply thought was lost forever, because it could form a strong bond regardless of age? If a paint could give any time-worn surface stunning new life, you have to wonder, is it still paint? Regal Select Exterior from Benjamin Moore, only available at independently owned paint and hardware stores.
Available at Four Seasons Paint and Floor Covering. Experience the perfect blend of style and comfort at Hunters Point Luxury Apartment Units. These 3-bedroom, 2-bath duplexes are beautifully designed with a look of hardwood flooring, modern fixtures, and plenty of natural light. The kitchen is outfitted with stainless steel appliances, beautiful countertops and cabinetry. And these brand new 3-bedroom, 2-bath duplexes are complete with garage. These duplexes are move-in ready. Hunters Point Luxury Apartment Units. Call Kay Grayson Company now at 353-1123 and visit Hunters Point Luxury Apartment Units, conveniently located on Claxton Dairy beside Springdale Park.
I'm Sandy Cox, and I'm the victim advocate at Stepping Stone. I have the privilege of giving the award, the Community Service Award tonight. We try to do that every year. At Stepping Stone, we could not survive without community partners. And many of you are sitting out here tonight, and we really appreciate that, because we just couldn't do the work that we do without your help. But tonight we want to recognize 4 people who work tirelessly with our children every day, day in and day out. They're many times the first contact with the children. When they're abused or neglected, they make the calls to DFACS or law enforcement, and we really appreciate them. They also are involved in our multidisciplinary team meetings that we have, and very faithful to those meetings, and they support us in other ways. They are our school social workers. please come forward as I call your name. Summer Falk. And Summer is our counselor on the east side, takes care of those children. And Summer asked me earlier today, sorry, Summer, that I didn't tell you the truth, but she asked me about the Community Service Awards. And I had to tell her I didn't really know, but anyway. Summer is on our executive board for Stepping Stone and very active with us. Next is Marquita Timmons. And Marquita takes care of our children on the west side of the county. She is on our advisory board for Stepping Stone. Cindy Carmen is not with us tonight, but she works at the Heartland Academy and takes care of those children. And she's a past board member of Stepping Stone. And then last but not least is Kelly Kennedy. And Kelly takes care of our children in the Dublin City School System. He is our present board president for Stepping Stone, and we really appreciate him because he's there all the time to help us and guide us and all those things that we need. This is just a small token of our gratitude, and we know that it's not enough, but I'll leave you with this. I'm convinced that when you meet our Maker one day, that you will hear these words, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." We thank you.
I would like for the rest of the board members, if you would please stand at this time so everybody can see who you are. They should have on a blue shirt. Some of them may not. Sorry. But I just want to thank you all for what you do for Stepping Stone. Thank you for all the board meetings and all the hours you put in, and thank you just for loving children. Without these people that are here tonight in this room, that are standing, Stepping Stone wouldn't be able to do what we do in the community, so thank you.
Hey, I'm Lee Jakes, and I am on the Stepping Stone board. I'm also employed with DFACS. I like to do every year, if all the DFACS people will just stand up so everybody could see who you are, please. I don't know why they don't ever want to stand up. 3 years ago, the board came up with an award, Sally Passmore Award. Sally's not able to be with us tonight, but Sally is a legacy. She worked at Lawrence DFACS for over 30 years. She was the director. Sally had her hands in everything at DFACS. She was very passionate about the family she worked with. Even the families knew Sally. But the recipient of this year's Sally Passmore Award is someone that possesses a lot of the same qualities as Miss Passmore. Miss Marquisia Blair was nominated by her peers for this award. Marquisia works in the foster care unit with Lawrence DFACS. She's been only with us for 2 years. Not even 2 years? Not even 2. Oh, wow. She, like Sally, in another 15 years, I hope I'm around so I can see the mountains that she moves. She goes above and beyond for the families that she works with, helping her co-workers as well. So, Marquisia, if you'll come get this award.
All right, welcome. My name is Lucas Cowart. I'm honored to be standing before you as a member of the Exchange Club and also as a board member for Stepping Stone. You know, currently this agency works with over 10 counties in our middle Georgia area. In just Lawrence County alone last year, there were 655 reports of abuse, 166 interviews, and 35 medical exams. And as I said, that was just one county out of the 10 that they serve. So you can imagine we had the rest in that. And those are just numbers that blow my mind. And being on the board of Stepping Stone, I just get to hear a little bit of what these guys and girls deal with every day. One of the stories that comes to mind is, you know, finding cigarette burns on an infant where, you know, the parents would actually put their cigarette butts out on the infant and stuff like that. You just don't think is something that would happen in our area. And like I said, it just really blows my mind to think that stuff like that goes on. Well, they put me in charge today of donations. And if you look in front of you, there's a donation card on the table. The first person that makes a $15 donation in the envelope can take the flower pot with them. There's going to be a board members coming around soon with baskets that'll pick those envelopes up. As you see, you've been looking through the program. There's a slideshow that's showing slides of the different stuff that they do, the services, and kind of their wish list. As I said, this is really their only fundraising event of the year. So anything they make is really just going to help make this you know, a better and safer place. And it really can't happen without the great people in this community. For instance, last year, Stepping Stone paid over $50,000 for mental health services through different forms of therapy for the children and their families in our community. And like I said, this is the only way they're able to try to refund some of that. Thank you for your consideration, and may God bless you.
Stepping Stone is amazingly important, and everybody who's here knows that. Law enforcement, DFACS, our office, anybody who cares about the abuse of children, which obviously is most people and certainly everybody here, and anybody in particular who cares about stopping and punishing those that abuse children, know how vital it is. I've done this work, I've prosecuted for long enough that back when I started, the importance that was put on forensic interviews of children, limiting the number of people that a child was interviewed by, concepts like that were around, but certainly not nearly as prevalent, not as well taught, and not given the level of importance that they needed and that they are today. And we're lucky here. We have one of the best child advocacy centers that I've ever had any contact with, both because of their professionalism, but also because of how much they care. I know just a couple months ago, I was at Stepping Stone with Brooke and Dr. Holmes. We were getting ready for a trial that we thought was going to be going soon, and the defendant ultimately pled guilty and was going to be in prison for an extremely long time. But in preparation for that, it struck me at the time, as it often does when I'm getting ready for a trial, how important it is to have that level of record of what abuse occurred back at the time that it occurred. As y'all are aware, certainly us in law enforcement, be it a police officer, a deputy sheriff, or somebody in our office, time is an enemy for us. It's a tool for a defendant because witnesses go missing, children forget, they repress things, they don't want to have to recall things in front of a room full of strangers, certainly when it happened 2, 3, 4 years ago. And it's just the nature of the work that we do that sometimes it takes that long. One of the biggest assets that we have is having those interviews memorialized and having those interviews done by people that are trained so well. They interview them properly, they interview them to get the most detail possible while having the least trauma possible to that child who's having to relate these terrible events. It makes the prosecution of those cases so much easier, both from the standpoint of getting a successful trial or a guilty plea, but also our other goal, which is to keep the child from being victimized more if we can help it. It limits the number of trials we have to have, and when we have trials, a lot of the statements that they've made can be relied upon during the trial to minimize the role they have to play in their testimony. I can't commend Stepping Stone enough. I'm proud to work with them. I'm proud to know them, not just because of the work they do, because of the love that they show in the work that they do. As always, I'm proud to be here. Thank y'all all for being here, and y'all be careful going home.
What an amazing event here at First Baptist Family Life Center. Again, special thank you to those at Stepping Stone, Lawrence County DFACS, the Sheriff's Department, all these agencies, TLC CASA, that work together for those children here in Dublin and Lawrence County. Sadly, we wish we didn't have to have organizations like this, but we know we don't live in a perfect world, perfect society, so we know that we do have to have these organizations. And of course, hearing from our special guest speaker tonight, our area or our state actually ranking highest for those for trafficking. It's definitely an epidemic. We appreciate what our law enforcement and our agencies are doing to help combat that situation. And of course, when you contribute to Stepping Stone Child Advocacy Centers, you are taking part and being a part of the solution for that. So they provide so many different services. As we heard tonight, they provide counseling for those who need it. They do forensic interviews. They play a vital role when those cases have to go to court and things like that. So we definitely appreciate them and all that they do. I hope you guys have enjoyed this program. Congratulations to those who received some very well-deserved awards tonight as well. Of course, listening and hearing those stories of students, of course, who have been affected right here in Dublin and Lawrence County, it lets you know that you can overcome those situations, but it also reminds us to be vigilant and to make sure that we help. If you're interested in helping, feel free to call them over at Stepping Stone. Maybe you want to volunteer. Call Lawrence County DFACS, TLC CASA. They're happy to talk with you. Families for Families here in Dublin, Lawrence County. Lots of ways that you can get involved and take part. It's definitely been a great day in Dublin today.